Hello gardening friends, this is Chantal from Peaceful Living NH Nursery. Today I want to address something that a lot of you ask about. I get this question a lot, and that is, do these plants bloom all season long? And when people are asking about this, they're usually asking about perennials. Not a lot of perennials bloom all season long. That is the growing season we're talking about. But you can encourage them to bloom again a second or even a third time by doing this one thing that I'm going to show you how to do today. But before we do that, I just want to give you a quick look over here at this flower bed over here. This is an old flower bed. It does need some rejuvenation, so we will be changing some stuff about it. We have the tall phlox that is in glorious bloom right now, and it's just always full of bees and hummingbirds and hummingbird moths. It's just really nice to look at, and it's also highly fragrant. I just love this tall phlox. And then over here we have some sedum that will be blooming later in the season. It's already put on its buds, and it's going to bloom starting around September. You can start to see a little bit of the color showing. And I have positioned some stuff, but I am going to change it. We also have the buddleia over here, and that is also very fragrant and it's beautiful. This was buried by some plants earlier, so it's finally gotten some light and is starting to put on some buds. And this one is the cerise red yarrow, an absolutely gorgeous color. And then we have here the purple smoke bush, which is going to grow between 15 to 20 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. So I will be shaping this as it grows, of course. And then there is the blue veronica, or Veronica spicata, and this one is going to grow about 3 feet tall, but this one was just recently planted. And it's because it was recently pruned, you can see it's starting to put on some blooms. And then we have the hosta over there, the Francis William hosta. And then we're going to be planting soon these Roman chamomile, and these are a low growing chamomile. They're a perennial, so they will last all year long, and they will come back the next season and they will put on these little blooms. And these are also edible, so you can use them in teas and all whatever you use chamomile for. And wherever they kind of put their stems at, they're going to root in. And these are going to grow about 10 inches, not 10 feet, 10 inches tall. And when you cut them back, they will rebloom again, of course. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And then over here we have some lamb's ear, some catmint. The catmint has been already cut back. We also have some feverfew. This is the tetra white feverfew. This grows about 2 feet tall. This was also cut back, and now it's starting to put on some growth and some blooms. You can see the catmint is already starting to put on some blooms as well. And of course, the coneflower over here, and some yarrow, some delphinium, all sorts of stuff. I want to address one thing over here with the lamium. Most people grow the lamium for foliage. You can let it bloom. The blooms are very attractive to the pollinators. The bees were actually getting chickens are being so loud. The bees were actually getting angry at me while I was cutting it back because it still had some blooms on it, but I didn't want it to reseed itself everywhere. It's kind of known for reseeding itself. So if you don't want it to do that, just give it a cut back, and then it will reflush and put on some more growth, as you see over here. Now this is the golden Parker yarrow. This is also available on the website along with the catmint and the echinacea, of course, and the German chamomile. So you can find all of these on our website. You can visit us at peacefullivingnh.com. We do ship, or you can place an order and choose local pickup and come pick it up over here after we let you know when it's ready for pickup. Of course, we will schedule an appointment with you for the pickup. And you can also visit us locally, of course. We are mostly open on Saturdays during the season. So we're open from typically 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but our schedule does change from week to week. So just stay tuned. Follow our Facebook page to know when we will be available for our sales, or you can schedule an appointment with us during this time if Saturdays doesn't work for you, of course. Now, this is the Golden Parker Yarrow, and you can see right here the blooms are starting to brown and they're starting to look ugly. And this is, you know, it looked really beautiful for so many weeks, maybe like 2 months or more. It was in full bloom. Yeah, since the beginning of July, before July actually, it's been in bloom, and now we're in mid-August, so almost 2 months in full bloom. And you can leave it to finish with, you know, all this color and let it brown, but then it might reseed itself, and if you don't want it to spread itself everywhere, and if you want blooms before the frost hits, then you want to give this a cutback. And the secret to getting blooms earlier is to cut it back not too low. Now, if you don't have a lot of foliage like I did with Feverfew, I had to cut it back all the way to the ground. So now I'm just starting to get some flush back on those. But with the yarrow, you can see we still have a ton of green growth over here. So what you would do, bring it close, is you just pick a leaf that looks healthy, you know, and cut the bloom right above that leaf node, and that's going to encourage the plant to push more blooms from this cut that you have made. So you're going to end up with shoots on this side and on that side, and those are going to put more blooms. And of course, you can also give it a good feed right after you give it a cut back, and it's going to encourage it even more to put more blooms and to look healthier. This is also going to make the plant look a little neater at this time, because these blooms are just starting to look kind of weary. So that's all we're gonna do. And this also smells really good as well. A lot of these plants do actually, and they're really good for the pollinators. So that's all you have to do. I'm just gonna keep cutting back over here until I'm done. And it's gonna look beautiful. I think these are new. No, they're not new ones. They're old. I'm just gonna cut them. And we'll bring you back when I'm done. And here it is. Doesn't it look much better in a way? It will look better once, of course, it starts blooming again. I missed one. You can do the same for all sorts of plants. Echinaceas, salvias. Right here we have the delphinium. I haven't done that yet, so I'm just gonna encourage it to bloom more just by deadheading the older blooms. Again, it's just super simple. And I got a weed. And these will just rebloom again. Now there are some plants that I like to leave the bloom heads on them, like for example, these right here, penstemon. I think the bloom heads on them are gorgeous. They're just very beautiful. They add a lot of texture to the landscape, and I just love them, and I love the contrast of the color with this phlox over here. I think it looks really nice. And another one that I love to leave the blooms on is the echinaceas. If you want to encourage it to bloom again, just go ahead and deadhead it, just like I taught you earlier. But the reason why I leave the echinacea blooms on the echinacea plant once it's done blooming is because the seed heads are a great source of food for the finches, once we head into the fall and into the winter, it won't last too long because we got a ton of finches over here and they love the seed heads on the echinaceas. And they also look beautiful in the winter when they're kind of, you know, piled up with snow on top. It's just gonna look really nice with these, some structure in the landscape to have some of these bloom heads that can handle the weight of snow. So it's as easy as this. This is how you keep your flower beds looking tidy in the summer when the summer heat is at peak, and get your perennials to rebloom again. You can visit us at peacefullivingnh.com to see what we have available. Again, we do ship, and you can place a local pickup or you can visit us locally.